I think fans are dreaming about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. That's the fight I think they're dreaming about.
Yes.
I think that if Stipe wins the fight or Jon Jones wins the fight, the way that both of those guys are wired, I think they fight Aspinall.
It was only a matter of time before the mounting pressure forced Dana White to finally break his silence. Once hailed as the undisputed GOAT, Jon Jones now finds himself at the center of growing controversy that's shaking up the UFC's heavyweight landscape. The same fighter who once dominated the light heavyweight division is now being accused of sidestepping the clash fans have been begging for. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. What began with subtle social media hints and cryptic remarks has now snowballed into a full-blown debate that Dana White could no longer ignore. With Jones implying he might walk away from the belt or doesn't mind being stripped, the UFC boss made it clear that's not how a true champion carries himself. While Dana may have defended Jones in the past, that protection seems to have vanished. He's called out the nonsense, and the UFC's patience is clearly wearing thin. White is now focused on progressing the heavyweight division, and Jones is no longer being granted special treatment. The landscape has shifted. It's becoming harder and harder to see Jon's recent behavior as anything but a way to avoid a showdown with Aspinall. Once the feared hunter, Jones is starting to resemble the one being hunted. In his ongoing silence, it's louder than words. After months of mixed signals, changing stories, and online games, the MMA world is calling it for what it is: ducking.
Tom's head is in the right place. He should want to fight the top guys in the world. I believe that he has time to fight the top guys in the world. As far as fighting me right now, you don't make it this far in a UFC career.
Only holds the interim heavyweight title and is widely seen as the future of the division, yet Jon Jones refuses to recognize him as a genuine challenge. Instead of addressing the bout fans are asking for, Jones keeps mentioning hypothetical matchups, including with Francis Ngannou, who isn't even part of the UFC anymore. When questioned about a potential fight with Aspinall, Jones gave an evasive response, brushing him off as just another up-and-comer, not someone worth jeopardizing his legacy for. But that reasoning doesn't sit well when you're the reigning champion. Champions are supposed to face the best, and right now, it looks like Jones is doing everything in his power to sidestep that. Responsibility. The backlash hasn't been limited to media outlets. Fans are speaking out, an online petition calling for Jones to be stripped of the title gained serious momentum, even catching Dana White's attention. While the total signatures might not represent every UFC fan, the message is crystal clear. People want action, not excuses. They want a champion who shows up to fight. Even other fighters like Paddy Pimblett and Giga Chikadze have publicly criticized Jones, accusing him of stalling the division for his own benefit. And while Jones dismisses the criticism, mocking those who say he's ducking, the situation doesn't look good. If he's healthy, active online, and openly discussing fantasy bouts, why not defend the belt? At the end of the day, the fans are the foundation of the sport, and many of them have turned their backs on someone they once idolized.
Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, Jon. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
Jon Jones's ever-changing statements have turned into a masterclass in contradiction. One moment, he paints himself as the loyal company man, staying quiet and holding on to the belt. The next, he's teasing retirement or hyping up a fight with Ngannou, a fighter no longer on the UFC roster. Then, without warning, he lashes out at critics, mocking fans who question his courage and acting as if he's above the noise. This erratic behavior has thrown the entire heavyweight division into uncertainty. No one knows when, or even if, Jones plans to step into the octagon again. What's become obvious is that his words lack consistency. He flips between claiming to support the UFC and undermining its rising talent. He says he wants to build his legacy, but avoids the very matchup that could cement it, a showdown with Tom Aspinall. At this point, it feels less like a champion's reign and more like a confusing performance with no clear purpose. And that confusion is starting to hurt the UFC. The promotion thrives on clear narratives. rivalries and hype, but Jones has become a walking contradiction. Both a logistical problem and a storytelling dead end.
So I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. If I failed to fight Stipe, I would be ducking Stipe because we contractually have been signed up to fight over a year ago. This is Stipe's position.
On the other side of this saga, Tom Aspinall has approached the situation with professionalism and composure, a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding Jon Jones. He hasn't avoided the media, made excuses, or stirred up drama. Instead, he's stayed committed, showing up to every press event, training with discipline, and keeping himself ready for whenever the call comes. Aspinall has been clear about his goals. He's not chasing headlines, he's chasing the belt, and he wants to do it the right way. You can hear the frustration in his voice, not because he's being overlooked, because he's done everything right and still finds himself stuck on the sidelines. He's already taken on top contenders and successfully defended his interim title when others wouldn't even step up. That kind of commitment earns respect from both fans and fellow fighters. And yet the real champion remains inactive, leaving the division in limbo. Aspinall's patience is understandably wearing thin. In any other era, this kind of title stagnation would be unacceptable. And this isn't just about a single matchup between Jones and Aspinall. It's about what it means to truly be a champion. Look at someone like Alexander Usyk. He's become the blueprint for championship behavior, facing all challengers, winning convincingly and leaving no questions behind. That's what fans admire. That's how legacies are built. Usyk even beat elite opponents multiple times to remove any doubt. Meanwhile, Jon Jones has only stepped into the octagon once at heavyweight against Cyril Gane.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes. Jon is conning the public. The fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year.
Jones's only heavyweight appearance came against an opponent who didn't appear fully prepared, and since then there have been no title defenses, no confirmed return date, and no clear direction. Compare that to champions in other divisions or even other sports, and the difference is glaring. A championship that isn't defended loses its meaning. At that point, the belt becomes more of a trophy than a title. Jon Jones is slowly turning what should be a legacy-defining run into a prolonged avoidance act, and fans are starting to lose patience. Sooner or later, the UFC needs to step in. The interim title was created for one purpose: to keep the division moving when the reigning champion can't compete. Jones injured his pectoral muscle, and while he recovered, Tom Aspinall stepped up, fought, and won the interim strap. By standard protocol, the next move is simple: unify the belts. But instead of following that clear path, the UFC has allowed the situation to veer off course. Rumors have surfaced about a possible matchup between Jones and Stipe Miocic, a fighter who hasn't stepped into the octagon in 4 years. That kind of bout doesn't push the division forward. It puts it on pause. While Dana White has previously allowed big names like Georges St. Pierre to retire on their own terms, this time he's watching one of the UFC's most stacked divisions stagnate. The longer this delay continues, the more it starts to look like a problem of legitimacy, not just poor timing.
He comes back, he's either back today or came back yesterday or whenever he's in Thailand. So he's home. We'll be home tonight, Tuesday. We'll figure this out.
But if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall and he does walk away, do you think he's...
Jon Jones seems to think he can shrug this all off with humor. He's shared videos poking fun at accusations of ducking, brushing off criticism like it's playground gossip. But when you're the reigning champion and you're consistently avoiding the top contenders, nobody's laughing. It's not about whether a fight was officially booked. It's about what's expected from someone who holds the belt. Avoiding. A challenger doesn't always mean turning down a contract. It can mean dragging out negotiations, dropping hints about retirement, or simply changing the narrative. All of those tactics point to the same issue: a reluctance to put the title on the line. When Jones claims that Tom Aspinall was never even on his radar, it says a lot. Top fighters don't ignore rising threats, they prepare for them. That's how championship-level athletes operate. And when he finally does mention Aspinall, it's not with the confidence of a dominant champion. It's with hesitation. Calling him a high-risk fight not worth taking? That's not the mentality of someone trying to build a lasting legacy. It's the mindset of someone trying to protect what they already have, even if it means holding the entire division hostage.
Tom Aspinall's the guy. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do. It's none of my business. I'll do what I can to make the fight if we can. If he's talking that crazy. I didn't realize that.
Tom Aspinall deserves more than what he's been given. He's not chasing headlines or demanding preferential treatment. All he wants is what every top-tier fighter fights for, a fair opportunity. And he's earned that shot through grit, skill, and consistency. His performances speak for themselves, and throughout this process, his professionalism has never wavered. In interviews, Aspinall has made it clear he'll take on anyone, anytime. But his goal isn't to chase Jon Jones personally. It's to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. That's why the current situation is so frustrating. He's stuck defending an interim belt that feels more like a consolation prize than a legitimate championship. Defending that belt once is rare. Doing it twice? Almost unheard of. Fighters don't train their whole lives just to be backups, Aspinall has been vocal. He just wants to fight. That's what makes this even more disheartening. It's a true competitor, ready to step into the cage. While the undisputed champ seems more focused on enjoying life abroad than defending his title. The emotional toll of this prolonged limbo shouldn't be underestimated. For nearly a year, Aspinall has been grinding in training camps, with no confirmed opponent, no fight date, and radio silence from the one man he's meant to face. It's a mental burden that few outside the sport can truly grasp. He can't fully plan or peak for a specific moment, just wait and wonder. And through it all, he's handled it with class. That alone says a lot about his character. But in this sport, time is precious. The prime years don't last forever.
Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got 1 million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about.
Time isn't on their side. Every month without a title unification is a month lost. And in a sport where careers are short, that matters. Tom Aspinall knows this. He doesn't want to wait until next year. He's not asking for perfect timing or a dream venue. He wants to fight now. What makes the situation even more frustrating is the UFC's silence. Behind the scenes, there have been reports of deadlines and potential consequences if Jon Jones continues to delay. But publicly, nothing. No official updates, no timeline, no enforcement. That lack of transparency has created a power vacuum, one that allows Jones to shape the story while everyone else. From fighters to fans to even Dana, White himself is left in the dark, and with no clarity, no resolution, and no real answers. The heavyweight division remains stuck.
If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him. You know, it's just like his fans have been so annoying. And obviously you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot, but he's just an asshole, you know.
According to Ariel Helwani, there is a deadline approaching, but no one truly knows what the consequences will be if Jon Jones refuses to follow through. Will the UFC actually strip him of the title? Will they finally move the division forward? Or will this limbo continue until someone else gets injured, frustrated, or pushed out of the picture? One of the UFC's biggest strengths has always been its ability to pit the best against the best. If they let that principle slip now, they risk damaging the very core of what has made the sport thrive: competition, merit, and momentum. At its heart, this situation is about more than just Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. It's about what it truly means to be a champion. It's about fairness, consistency, and the integrity of the game. Jon Jones has had one of the most legendary careers in MMA history. That's not in question. But greatness isn't measured by past accomplishments alone. It's also defined by how you show up in the present and right now. The spotlight is revealing a fighter who doesn't seem interested in defending his title. His narrative shifts every other week. and who appears disconnected from what that belt truly represents. If that's the case, if the passion's gone, if the belt no longer holds meaning, then maybe it's time to let it go. Let the division move forward. Let the next generation have their shot. Let the sport breathe again.